Good morning. Welcome back to the channel, Grand Colombia. And welcome to Coffee Time Live every Sunday, 11 a.m. with 3 exceptions in the past 14 months. So that's pretty good. Morning juice. Yes, already had my coffee. Okay, today. First of all, I put out an updated video a few days ago on tipping. I think it was time because in the last couple of years, there's been some change. And, I need to recognize it. Also, Alejandra was confused about what I was saying about tipping. And so I thought that, well, if she was confused, maybe some other people were. So I decided to, sound check, good. I decided to update the video and make sure that I covered all the bases to be clear. Now, there's always some people that hear what they want to hear. I can't do anything about that. And I think it was like 20 minutes long or something, a little longer than, they're always too long. That's because I just kind of, like right now, just kind of yammer on and on. All right, today I've got 2 things I want to talk about, and leave it up to you. So what do you want first? Do you want the good news first, or do you want the bad news first? So just type in the chat, good news or bad news, and in the meantime, what do we got? Dan, good morning. I met Dan and his wife for a coffee the other day. He brought me a chef's knife as a present. I really appreciated that. That was very nice. Juka, before we started, he sent a contribution, and it's becoming a habit. So thank you very much for that. John from Massachusetts in Medellin. Now, is it Sodom or Gomorrah? I don't remember. Okay, Rob, good morning, Rob. Back in Fort Lauderdale from his vacation in Hawaii. Well, you've been back a while, but Juka, greetings from Helsinki. Good morning and greetings. Mike Carroll, sound video, thumbs up, awesome. Hold on here. What do we got? Juka. Tip for Alejandra. I'll make sure she gets that. It'll take a couple days, but she will definitely get it. Thank you. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. I'm not sure exactly why, but I'm guessing because I probably mentioned when I was talking about the inflation that's really starting to snowball a bit. It's kind of put her out of business. She can't buy the ingredients for what she would have to sell it for. And a lot of people are going through that. You're seeing a lot of menu adjustments. She's too small to be able to lead the way on that. And rather than buy the stuff and have it spoiled, she can't afford to do that. It's kind of like wait till things settle down. So it kind of sucks. But fortunately, a few people that have moved here in the last 6 months or so have been hiring her on a somewhat regular routine basis to help them out with various things around here. So that's making a huge difference. And Lee from Toronto, after watching your latest video about tipping, I'm feeling guilty about sending this. Haha, funny. We'll call it a contribution. This is like PBS. It's supported by viewers like you. Okay, so we got that. And whoops, sorry. And Sin Nombre, how you doing? I once asked the guy working the wicket at the racetrack if he could give me a tip, and he said, yes, don't fry bacon with your shirt off. Awesome. John Pratt, bad. You want the bad news first? Okay. Juan, good morning. I agree with you. Not sure who you agree with, but that's awesome. Oh, bad. Okay, got it. Bad news first. Chad, good morning. How you doing? Okay, out with the bad first. All right. You're here soon, right, Chad? I think. Dan, good morning. Agree. Let's get the bad news out of the way. All right, it's going to be the bad news. And Mike, good morning from He's our correspondent in the south of Armenia. And it's been crazy for me. I didn't even get my hair cut this week, and that was like one of my top priorities. It's, you know, you would think that you move to another country and you're retired, that you would have all kinds of time. I mean, sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. Okay, bad news first. Both of these items are basically news topics. The bad news, and I've been asked by a few people about this, what's going on? What's this mudslide in Pereira? All right. So and I hadn't heard about it when it was first asked of me. I think Dan, who's visiting, I think he was the first one to ask me. But when the second person asked me, I still hadn't looked. I didn't know about it. But when they say it's a mudslide in Pereira, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is the city of Pereira. Well, I'm thinking, well, that's not going to happen, really. There's between Pereira and Dos Quebradas, where I used to live, actually, and work in Pereira. There's a huge ravine, and at one time it was a world-famous bridge that crosses. Something about the type of construction. Now there's been a million done like it. But there's this big bridge that crosses this huge ravine, kind of a miniature Grand Canyon. And down in there are all kinds of the, you know, tin shack, hovels, poor people, a lot of construction like that, that the closer you get to the river, the worse it is. Only in Colombia would waterfront property be the bad property, but that's what it was. And we've been getting a lot of rain at a time when we don't usually get a lot of rain. And it's not just here. If you, I suggest you do this. Look up YouTube. Look up flooding in Quito in YouTube. There was one video clip was like 40 seconds long. A guy was up in his high rise, and he's looking down at the main thoroughfare running through Quito. Now, Quito is huge. I think it's bigger than Bogota, like 10, 15 million people or something like that. A lot of people, a big city. And in the middle of the thoroughfare, you got this 6-lane highway with a divider and all that. I mean, you can imagine. And it looked like a river. It was just, water was just gushing down this area. And it was pretty bad. So they were having a lot of problems. This was a week or two ago. And we've been getting a lot of rain. Now, it really hasn't caused any problems, but when you get an area where, you know, it's steep and you get unusual amounts of rain, you can get a mudslide at some point. We're not really known for it, at least in the areas where people live, but, you know, these things can happen, just like in, I was living in California. I think it was around Newport Beach. One time I was living there. There was a big mudslide. I don't think it killed anybody, but it wiped out some multi-million-dollar homes. So these things can happen. So what basically happened is, to date, there's 16 people known dead. They think there's 3 more missing, but they're not sure. 35 people were injured. And what do I got? 60 homes were wiped out. And right now, I guess there's the sunny side to the rainy bad news is it's been declared a national disaster. And what that means is they step in and provide hotel housing for the people that are displaced, you know, food, medicine, you know, things that they need, blankets, and they will also help relocate them. There'll be assistance for that. It affects, right now, it looks like a total of 70 families. Now, 60 homes, 70 families. Sometimes, you know, they double up, extended families, things like that. So that's the bad news. Information that, you know, has been asked actually quite a bit. So there's that. The good news. Okay, what's the good news? Here in Armenia. Something else that I'm asked quite a bit. This is why I zeroed in on these two things. I mean, we have news every day, but it's usually pretty boring, mundane, doesn't really mean much. But I'm asked quite a bit about the medical facilities in Armenia, and they're excellent. However, there's a few things that are kind of at the extreme end of medical care that you have to go to Cali, Bogota, or Medellin. Now, that's not a big deal. I mean, it's not that far and it's not that difficult, but that's been the case up until now. There's a medical group called San Rafael Clinic. And if you've heard me talk about this before, if you know about it, medicine in Colombia is all run and operated by private companies. To get the EPS insurance or the healthcare for all kind of thing, there is a provision that provides the guidance and regulation that was actually developed by these private people, individuals, and companies, and they abide by that. But there's no big government bureaucracy. It's all run by private, which is why, you know, we get such great care at such a low cost. It's much more efficient when you don't have this middle layer of bureaucrats that don't do anything except deny care. We don't have that kind of issue. So this private company who already has a presence here, and they've got a pretty good sized presence in Pereira and Manizales, so they're the coffee region. They're building a new clinic, and I believe it's getting ready to open. And this new clinic will have 1,300 workers, which will include 220 specialists, like oncology specialists, doctors. So that's pretty significant clinic. When they call them clinics here, but what they really are is hospitals. Like the 8-story one that I did a video on, I took a friend and did a video there. It's an 8-story place. It's called a clinic, but they've got you know, CAT scan machines and everything you can think of pretty much is there, with a few exceptions, which I will talk about. Now, this operation is it's called a level 4, and I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. I believe that's the top level for medical, but there may be something beyond it. But they're saying that this is like, it covers everything that wasn't covered before. So I have to think it's probably top level. So what are they covering now that was not in Armenia before? All right. If you had a multi-organ transplant, so if you had a lung and heart transplant, for example, or liver and like that, multi-organ, that was something they would send you to Cali, Bogota, or Medellin for in the past. Now, if you just had a one item transplant, they would do that here in Armenia. So it's not something that's a common occurrence, but now it will be able to be handled right here. Also, the newest cancer radiotherapy. Now, people that have cancer that live in Armenia almost always just have it treated, addressed right here because they're capable. But I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot about this, even though I had cancer, but there's some radiotherapy that's relatively new, and it is now available here in Armenia. And what was the last? Bone marrow transplants. That was not done here. I don't know about capability. It just was not done here, but now it will be done. This new clinic will provide 59 new beds, 13 new ICU. It's got multiple. I couldn't figure out how many. I get the impression 4 operating theaters, operation rooms, give or take 1 maybe. And it's got its own labs, and this is typical here, lab in building, and diagnostic imaging, you know, like the CAT scans and things like that. So, and they already had, this group already had, I think it was, I read it, 47 beds, I think, maybe 50. You know, so they're going to have a total of just shy of 110 hospital beds, this group. Now, the thing is, it's private. You say, well, what insurance do I have to get into that? It doesn't really work that way. I mean, you could have Sanitas, you can have Suda or whatever. You can still utilize that particular clinic. So that's the good news. I think it's pretty cool. What do we got? Particularly if my cancer comes back, you know, you never know when I might need that specialized. You know, you only get one miracle per life, I think. George, good morning from Turlock, California. Yes, left coast communist country. Hope you're doing well. All right. Hope I didn't offend anybody. I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's my idea of a joke. Chad, that's great news. Absolutely. All right, here's a long one. Let's see if I can read this. Still got that chat issue. Pharmacies are very nice and they attend you right away. Yep, they're very well trained. They know a lot about basic illness. You won't need a doctor or insurance company or wait a long time. Well, I get what he's saying, but the thing is, if you live here, you're required to have the EPS insurance, which is a very good coverage. And so there's that. Plus, it may, you know, with inflation, it may have gone up, but it's been $20 to $25. You can have a doctor come to your house. For $15, you could have a nurse come to your house. But you're right, the pharmacies, like everything, this is not a third world country, especially when it comes to medicine. I mean, the quality of medicine here is ranked higher than, considerably higher than Canada and the United States. It's, I think, ranked third in the world, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. I probably shouldn't say that because I just don't remember. I just know that it's very high and higher than some countries that you would find surprising. There's no lack of medical education. And, you know, and I've mentioned this before, but I found it's kind of ironic. When you're in the United States, most likely you get a doctor, he's from India, or he's got his education from the Caribbean. When you see a doctor in Colombia, most likely you're getting a doctor who was educated in the United States. I don't know if that means anything. I just think it's kind of funny. So where's that clinic? Great question. Could not find the address for it. I imagine it's not far from me. This is where all the medical stuff is, probably on my doorstep. I would guess that it's around Parque Fundadores area. I will find out. I noticed that about 6 o'clock this morning, that article. And so I wanted to talk about it because I'm asked a lot about these things. And I did a fair amount of digging, but I couldn't find the address. I even put it on Google and, you know, it's not registering there. So I don't know, but like I said, it's most likely going to be in the Parque Fundadores area. Good morning from upstate New York. Only 1,019 days until retirement. Never too early to start planning and learning Spanish. You're absolutely right. And welcome back. I think you were here last week and I made a joke about Don Beebe, but you're absolutely right. And I got a message last night from Robert who said he sends me every so often this little screenshot of this countdown where he's got 599 days to retirement. The other Robert, we're supposed to be in summer and it's raining every day in Cali. Yeah, this is a month. February and March are typically drier. Now, it's never going to be dry. It's not like that here. But we're kind of off our schedule here, too. You know, this is a time where you really only almost always get rain in the evening, you know, when you're sleeping. And so full daytime or maybe later afternoon it rains. You know, you still take your umbrella. But, well, all of this week, it's been raining haphazardly. I mean, I think we had 2 mornings where it rained in the morning, or at least it rained until 7 or 8 in the morning before it stopped. These are very unusual. So it's considerably wetter than normal. So yeah, Kali, I'm not surprised. It's even though it's lower and hotter and more poverty and miserable and ugly, and I don't like Kali, the pattern for rain overall is very similar system. The medical system in Canada is a joke. Well, say about that. Oh, okay. All right, we got anything here? All right. Well, that's what I have for topics today. I got through them relatively quick, so I guess I didn't ramble on too bad. And so now it's Q&A time. It's time to start. Remember, 4 question marks first, then ask the question. Okay, let's go. Watching from Manizales, my friend. Cool if I drop by in 2 weeks. Sure, give me a heads up. I am meeting with somebody has hired me from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'll probably throw in a Friday because I got, for whatever reason. So I'll be busy this week, and then somebody else is coming in who hired me for a couple days. I don't have that in front of me, but I think it's either the weekend or just after the weekend. But outside of that, I've got time that I can work out, like for a haircut maybe. So yeah, come, give me a holler. We'll grab a cup of coffee. The Discord channel, we've now got up to, I think, 24 people have signed up. Please feel free to communicate with each other in that channel. That's the intention. I've been throwing some things in there, but I don't want you to think that it revolves around me. That's for you guys. For example, Steve, when you come here, I mean, how handy would it be if you entered in there, hey, I'm going to be in Armenia and such, who's up for grabbing a cup of coffee? And 2 or 3 people chime in and say, yeah, I'm down. That's the purpose. So if you haven't signed up, please sign up. And if you go to Discord and open an account, it's free and it's solid and secure. It's been around for many, many years, and just as a communication platform. It's hashtag Grand-Colombia. That's the channel it's on. Or you can send me an email and I will send you an invite link. That's how we got the 24 people. And I think this chat bot thing, I haven't looked, but I'd asked it to post up a link. So if you're watching this chat, it might come up. Okay, how do I initiate the process to sign up for EPS? Well, I did a video on that not so long ago, and everything in it is still valid. So just go to the YouTube channel and type in the search on my channel. Not the YouTube search, but when you open up my channel, there'll be a search for that. And just put in health insurance or EPS or something like that. And a couple will pop up, but one actually is kind of clearly defined with the thumbnail. And so take a look at that. If you're living here in Armenia and you're struggling with the kind of crap websites, now once you've signed up, like Sura that I have, the website is really good. I mean, I can make an appointment tomorrow online. You see the entire schedule, and I can basically make an appointment for tomorrow, the next day, whatever I want. That part's pretty cool. But signing up is a bit of a nightmare. And I know Alejandra has helped a lot of people. Natalie was doing this. She actually helped me with mine. But she got very frustrated because there were a couple people that she was helping that seemed to get this idea that somehow she was responsible for their health care, and that, I paid you. You gotta make appointments for me. And she's not working for the insurance company. All she was doing was making a personal contact with somebody that she knew so that they would get them signed up because the website was not working properly. As I told in a video previously on a couple coffee times, before I talked to her about getting help with it, she actually volunteered. I spent 2 or 3 months trying to get signed up and couldn't. Sounds good. Glad you're staying busy. Being busy is not a problem for me. John, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the contribution. I'm sure that popped up on the screen previously, but thank you. I don't like Kali. Yeah. Very direct. So you are becoming a true Latino mind that says things as it is. I agree. Kali, unfortunately, is getting too big, too messy. I've never been a fan. The problem with Kali is I've had to go there because if you go anywhere south, you pretty much go through Kali. I had to go there through so many times. I don't know how many dozens of times. It's never been a good experience. I've stayed. I have a particular hotel that I like to stay at, and there's some nice things in Kali, and there's nice areas in Kali, like everywhere. But overall, the city is just kind of creeps me out. I don't like it. It's dirty. It really bothers me that every time I've ever gone to Kali, for example, and you don't see this in many places. Let's say you got a 4-lane road, running through Kali, and there's a lot of them. The median will have bags of garbage piled up as far as the eye can see. So you think the first time you see it, you think, okay, well, everybody put their trash out because the garbage truck is coming through. No, it's like that every single day. And, animals will come and rip them open. There'll be trash all over the place. And it just gets to be kind of overwhelming. In your place like in Armenia, if there's a trash spill, you got 10 people that don't have anything to do with trash, but they're going to go over and they're going to pick it up. It's offensive, and they don't want to see it. And so people just keep everything clean. People are always commenting about how clean Armenia is, and Armenia is not unique in that. That's a typical thing, particularly if you get out of a big city. But when you have a lot of people that don't really give a crap and they're just constantly throwing garbage out there, you throw your hands up and you kind of give up. And so, that's my issue with Kali. It's Plus, it's just way too hot. All right. Poor Kali. I'm always beating up on it. Is bartering something people do here, or is the price the price? Yes and yes. It depends on the situation. Also, I would suggest to you that before you buy something, do a little research on the pricing. What should the pricing be? Maybe ask a few people, because what you really don't want to do, or at least I think it's kind of sleazy, is a lot of times you're going to find something good priced, particularly in a place like Armenia. And if you're in Medellin, you might be paying considerably more. So you start off with something that's already got a good price, and then you start beating on the person to drop that price when their price was really a good price all along. I don't know. You can do that, I guess. They're not going to sell it unless, they're willing to sell it. In the marketplace is what it is. So I get that. But, sometimes it's like you're kicking a person when they're down kind of thing. And I'm saying this in context of what the last couple of years have been. Inflation's hitting hard. Now, in the past, I've always tried to put in perspective, the extent of the poverty. Stop thinking of all these Colombians of being poor, and they're not all struggling. I've given you statistics and anecdotal information, things like that. And that was all true. However, over the last couple years, with businesses closing and prices going up, and especially as of this year, January, when inflation is really starting to kick in, there are people that were living good, comfortable middle-class lives that are now struggling to pay their rent, struggling for groceries, things like that. So it's having a big effect. And I don't know now statistically what the poor is in Colombia, but I wouldn't be surprised if people that are around that benchmark are maybe even up to 40% of the country. And that'll be like double of what it was a couple of years ago. So keep that in mind when it comes to bartering. But yeah, bartering is cool, but bartering's not going to happen if you walk into Olympica or Exito or Falabella or, into the mall. Unless, well, I shouldn't say that, because if you go up and maybe there's a sunglasses kiosk and, they tell you it's 30,000 pesos. Well, you could try to bargain, but they'll let you know right away. I mean, if they just say, no, I can't, the price is the price, they're telling you the truth, because that's what it's going to be. So, I mean, know what it is you're buying, understand what the price is before you bargain. And it won't hurt to give it a shot, but understand that, some things that's not going to happen. Have you seen any of the apartments facing the east side towards the mountain? Yes, beautiful views, but I can only find rentals that face the city side. Yeah, well, there's a reason for that. And 2 times I have tried to get an apartment there, and at the time I was looking, there was none available. Well, one time there was one of the smaller 2-bedroom ones, but I wanted the full-size 3-bedroom. Personally, I wouldn't have cared which side it was on. As a matter of fact, you have 2 advantages of being on the side that faces away from the mountains. One is you're a direct recipient of that breeze that always comes from that direction. That's very valuable in my opinion. And me, that would trump the views, because there's plenty of places there that you can go on those higher levels in between the buildings, and you can sit and have a cup of coffee and stare at the mountains all you want. You're surrounded by mountains. You're seeing them all the time, every day. And so once you're here, it becomes a bit of less of an issue. And the second thing is you're facing away from any major thoroughfares. And so in the evening, it's going to be considerably quieter than it would be on the road with the main 4-lane highway. Now, it's not bad because Centenario isn't like crazy with traffic except, midday. But there's that to consider. So with those 2 things, I actually probably would opt to be on the side opposite of the mountains because of those 2 things. When I moved to Provenza, I opted for a place that was facing away from Boulevard. So, think about it. Views are beautiful. I get it. And it's, it would be nice, but I kind of like the other aspects. I've been following another YouTuber, cheater, Curtin Snow, don't know, when we're in Medellin for medical tourism. Snow, the wife, had a total knee replacement. They're retired and couldn't afford the surgery in the U.S. Yeah, that might be interesting. I'm leery about most of the YouTubers in Colombia, I think for obvious reasons. But there's some good ones, and who's become my favorite, Afro Guajira. This cracks me up. Related to today's topic. Yeah, well, it's true. George, thank you. Thank you. This is a day for contributions. I thank you. Hell, if I'd known, I'd be throwing a Super Bowl party. No, I probably won't even be watching the Super Bowl. Actually, I might have a date today. I don't know. Somebody who I've known for a few years was kind of hinting about coming by today, so that might be cool. And I had no plans to really do much today except chill and not watch the Super Bowl. I was actually thinking about looking for a good movie. I haven't seen a good movie in a long time. What else we got? Paul, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm humbled and grateful. Mike, Dan, yeah, you guys need to talk. Mike is relatively social, and he's a hell of a nice guy. And I think you guys would hit it off. In Central, I occasionally been successful to negotiate prices within reason. Yeah, the more traditional places, the little tiendas and things like that, Absolutely. I needed a fan a couple years ago. Bought this tower fan, and I didn't get much off, but I got a couple dollars off the thing. And whereas if I were in Olympica or something like that, the price is the price. So, Dan, I realize you're not an economist, but wanted to hear your opinion on this. I'm worried about retiring in Colombia, then having the U.S. economy take a hit. How hard would it be on the Colombian economy? It'll hurt it. On the other hand, Colombia is not wholly dependent on the U.S. economy, and so there'll be mitigating factors. But keep in mind, even if Colombia is hit as hard as the U.S., based on the economy of scale, you'll still be considerably better off. So even if things get tough, it will be better to be here than to be there, because you're going to be there struggling at those inflated prices. I would much rather be here than struggling with my inflated prices. And I'll tell you, I looked a couple days ago out of curiosity. I chose one item, and I won't go into a lot of detail because I'm thinking about maybe I'll do this in a video. But I chose one item as to what the cost was a couple years ago versus what the cost is today, what the exchange rate was a couple years ago, and what the exchange rate is today. And what I discovered was that even though I was paying about double today, considering the exchange rate, I really wasn't paying relatively any more, or it was very little. And so you have a built-in advantage. Whereas if you're Colombian, with the Colombian economy, you're just paying double. That's it, period. We've got that X factor of the exchange rate. Now you say, well, what happens if the exchange rate tanks? And well, then you're going to be in the same boat as the people that are living here, but you're still going to be better than there. Mike, that's what I was wondering, mostly about street vendors. Are there sellers on Sunday in El Centro? Yes. Not so much street vendors are going to be more for food and fruits and things like that, fruit carts. And honestly, I mean, what are you going to, I mean, I just bought a kilo, 2.2 pounds of strawberries. And I don't remember now, I mentioned it in a video, but how much was it? It was like $1 something for 2 pounds of strawberries. I mean, do I really need to negotiate on something like that? And on the street vendors, their margins are already minimal because there's a lot of competition. So you got nobody out there with really inflated prices. I've been having these types of thoughts, by the way. I see where you would rather be poor, where is more beautiful, all things are equal. Where would you rather be poor? I'd rather be poor here. Now, in the U.S., there used to be poor in the U.S. However, with all the things that are there, if you're willing to put yourself into the government system, you got you got welfare, you got food stamps, you got Section 8 housing. I mean, hell, if you have the right kind of situation, you're not paying to live. It's all handed to you. Now, it's not like that for everybody. It's difficult for some. There's hurdles that you have to jump over. The biggest problem is the government then owns you and can and does start dictating to you how you can live and what you could do with your kids and all kinds of things. So you're basically an indentured servant. And we don't really have that here in Colombia very much, although there are some things here. I've never seen anybody starve in the street, but here people look out for each other and people hustle. There's always something going on. Now, not to throw her out there under the bus or talk about her stuff, but my friend is struggling because the rug kind of got pulled out for her through no fault of her own. A number of things have happened, but she she's getting her rent paid and things are happening. You know, she's doing things because she gets out and hustles and she finds things to do to make some money. And people here are like that. Plus, if you make yourself a circle of friends, or here, if you have family, you have that kind of security blanket. I think I'd rather be here. Also, here, if you are at the bottom rung, you can get out and do something. You'll see on the streets all the time, you know, somebody that's clearly in poverty and he's selling candy. Well, that same guy who's selling candy out of a box he's holding in his hand, that can be the start of a business. And you have a lot of people here that have businesses that began that way, where they were just down and out, and they're out and they're doing what they have to do. And next thing you know, he buys that thing that the tray with straps around his neck, and he's selling more than just candy. He's selling gum and cigarettes and whatever. And then from there, he buys himself a little, you know, street cart kind of thing. And he's going from area to area because he doesn't have a permit, but he's got that. And then my friend who did the tacos, he started with a street cart. Well, he started selling tacos out of his house. Then he started, he got a street cart. Now he has his own restaurant. Problem in the U.S. is you can't really do that. It's really difficult to do that because you're going to be harassed. They're going to come along. You're going to hit you with a fine, or, you know, sweep you up into the bureaucracy. So, you know, for all of those things that I'm talking about, freedom's a wonderful thing, and it's palpable here. On the other hand, all of this mandating and all of this last couple years, it's kind of put a damper on that, which is another idea for a video, because I'm seeing a change in people's moods and attitudes. But I'm still doing some research on that. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Slow start for us today after spending hours at Bar Tropical Club last night. Going out a little while. Bar Tropical Club. What are you doing? The candidates. Yeah. He's popular based on lies. He's a socialist. He's also a criminal. He's also a murderer. And it baffles me that he's even able to run for president. But you have a lot of young people that are buying into the propaganda, the staged, infiltrated protests last year. There's a lot of ugliness going on under the surface when it comes to politics, and what a disaster that would be. So I don't know. I just hope it doesn't come to pass. Here in communist California, we have whole villages of people sleeping under freeway, no Section 8 for them. Yeah, you know, that's, and I know you live, you know, near San Francisco. I mean, that's self-inflicted. And, you know, the people there need to step up. They're cultivating that. They're rewarding people for that. You know, going out and giving them new camping tents that cost hundreds of dollars is not a solution. I don't want to. I want to. It's wholly unnecessary. What's the Discord name again? Hashtag Grand-Colombia. Or send me an email and I'll send you a invite link. Afro Guajira, totally agree. Energy Plus. What the hell? Yeah, she cracks me up. Her last video doing her hair was pretty funny, but she kept repeating herself over and over. I said, oh, come on. But it was still entertaining. And she's been doing videos for a couple years, and she's doing real well. She's got a lot of supporters. She's getting a lot of contributions. And I appreciate what she's doing, because she's not really talking about it. But she got herself a car, which is smart because she's made this her career. And she got like the cheapest new car you can buy. Well, that's what she bought. But she's returned home where she's from, and she's been doing videos for there, but she's taking her YouTube money, and she's got, I mean, she's related to practically everybody in that town, and she's helping a lot, and she's not talking about it. But for example, the house of her main family that she's staying at while she's there, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's going through a complete remodel. There's painting going on. There's all kinds of things happening. She's spreading that, well, I won't say wealth, but she's spreading she's spreading the wealth among her community, her people. She's bringing it back to them. She's not sitting there building up her bank account. She's doing a lot of good with it. And I have a lot of respect for her for that. You know, for me, I just take that money and I throw it into this stuff. You know, if you could see, you know, she's, okay, do I do anything for people? Oh, of course I do, but you know, she's doing something I think above and beyond. Suzuki car driver owner like me. Yeah, and that's a good little car. I know cars, and they have a good reputation for a reason. I'd like to join the group, but my hatred of Discord is overwhelming. It's a platform for 12-year-olds. Only if you go onto a 12-year-old platform. I know what you're saying, but it doesn't really apply. It's the reason I don't live stream. Well, I do connect to Twitch, but it's not my platform for live streaming, because what you have is a lot of gaming. Gaming is like the biggest thing out there, live gaming. And so Twitch, it's all about that. Although you don't have to, it's about that. And Discord, because there's so much gaming in the world, Discord is a part of that. But Discord is also the help centers for any kind of computer or internet business will have a Discord channel. And the thing is, for example, my channel, you go to my channel, there's no 12-year-olds. You're not seeing any of that because it's a separate entity. So, you know, when I log in, it goes directly to my channel, and the only thing I'm going to see is you guys. So I get what you're saying, but it doesn't really apply because I'm not having to deal with them. Absolute BS signing up with Discord. You can only identify ships, traffic, buses so many times. Yeah, I get that, but that's not a Discord thing. I run into that all the time on the internet. I hate it. So I don't know what to tell you. You know, I had to choose something. I chose Discord because it's tried and true for many years. It's a very reliable platform. Plus, you can have video chats with each other or voice conversations with each other. There's so many options. That's the thing. Okay, Don, with safety in mind, we're moving there and torn between living on a finca, bad idea, I think, or moving into a condominium, good idea, I think, a home with a gated community, finca preferred. It's not so much about safety as practical. I mean, are you a wealthy person? If you're a wealthy person, go for the finca. But understand you're going to be very isolated. And you're going to have a car. So you're going to have that added expense and all the issues that go with that. Because every time you want something, you're going to have to go get it. And you say, well, I do that in the United States or whatever. Yeah, but they're not the same place. And what you think of in one place does not translate to the other. It's different. In the U.S., all day long, I'd be living in the country. I only lived near cities when I had to, and I commuted. Don't like cities. Here, I'll live in a city, primarily a condo, which is probably the lowest on your list. But here, it's the best situation because everything is convenient. It's easy for you. What part of Colombia? Well, the safest part of Colombia is right where I'm sitting. So the finca, if issues did return, if it went back to what was going on 20 years ago, then think it would become an unsafe thing first. And here you would be safe and secure, in the city. But it's not like that. So the choice for me isn't really about safety. It's about how isolated you would be here. It is not like living on a farm or in the country in the United States. Very different thing. But, to each their own, do what you want to do. I suggest to everybody, when you get here, lease a condo. You get a year lease, and during that year, travel around, look at things, meet people, check out options, so that at the end of the year, if you then decide that you found a place in the country or whatever, then go for it. But you'll at least be informed and know what you're getting into. Okay, I tried to have a CAT scan once, but it ran away before I could press the start button. Absolutely, that happened to me too. But eventually I caught up with that cat, and I will tell you that if you fry the tortilla just right, and it's a corn tortilla, and make a hell of a taco. Okay, I load the software, search for Grand Colombia, get no results. All right, just shoot me an email and I will send you the link and you'll go right into it. What's wrong with Telegram or WhatsApp? They're different things. It doesn't apply. Telegram, I have my issues with it, but it isn't about that. Discord, as I said, it has every functionality. The others don't. WhatsApp is a personal communication. You can create a group, but you can accidentally delete that group. You've got to have somebody's personal number in order to put them in there. Some people don't want to do that. The Discord channel is not like that. So I get where you're coming from, but I had to choose something, and that's what I chose. And I thought about this going back, I don't know. I was still in Ecuador when I was thinking this out. I opened that Discord channel, I think 6 years ago. So this wasn't anything I made lightly. I have a Telegram. I certainly have a WhatsApp because everybody does. Those things would not work for what I'm attempting to do here. I'm trying to create a place as a community for you guys to be part of and not intermixed with outsiders. So this is like your own place to go. Like I said, when you log into Discord, you're not going to see any of those 12-year-old gamers because you're going to go right to the channel, and the only people you're going to see are people like watching this video. Okay, what are you using? What SIM are you using, or cell provider? Well, the SIM I'm using is not to do with the banking thing. I solved my banking issue, but I'm on my priority list of top 10 is a solution for other people, because I have a unique solution for mine that few people will be fortunate to have. I kind of lucked out and was able to establish my stepbrother. I was able to establish the banking link through him through an accident that the bank did, and I took advantage of it. So it's not going to be reproduced. But I will find a solution for that. Now, as far as what I use just for every day here, which I would still do if I get the one SIM or whatever out there, I use Movistar. I've had Movistar since I moved to South America. It's a different company than it is in Ecuador. They're not connected. But when I came here, I chose it. I like Movistar, even though there's things I don't like about it. I prefer it over Claro. I'm able to negotiate prices with them, and with Claro, not. Now, Tigo is probably the cheapest, but they don't have the best coverage. Movistar has branches everywhere. It's easy to walk in and, get some help. But on the other hand, they're all going to work. They're all going to work, so it doesn't, all you really need here is a good WhatsApp, because that's what everybody's using. I'm well above average level computer knowledge. It was part of employment. Hate Discord, period. Software has been removed from my laptop and phone. Okay, so be it. And so am I. I mean, one of my degrees is in computer engineering, and I spent years. I was designing and selling websites back in 1992. At that time, there were only a few handfuls of us doing it. There weren't millions of people. I'm also very aware of this. And like I said, I know exactly what you're talking about. However, in using it, I'm not experiencing any of those issues. And I just had 24 people sign up over the course of a couple days. And outside of one person, nobody's had any complaint about, doing it or how they're doing it or whatever. There was only one guy who was having trouble, not with Discord, but he was having trouble downloading it to his phone for some reason. But I don't discount what you're saying. I get it. But I can also point to tons of issues, including with Telegram. And I know a lot of people out there are really attached to Telegram. I stopped using it because, I had issues with it. I don't need to use it. So I hear you. I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying. What is the local news about the Venezuelan military on the Colombian border? Is it an isolated event or something more serious? Are you talking about the bombing that occurred? I'm not sure what event you're referring to, but if you're referring to the bombing, that was an ELN operation. It wasn't a Venezuelan military. Hey, have you tried Tom's new restaurant? He just recently opened up. Pretty good. I haven't, but I plan to. I'm actually going to try to go sometime this week. I'll have a car. I'll have a client. We've got to go to Pereira anyway. So either on the way or on the way back, maybe we can stop in because it's hardly out of the way. It's in Circassia. And I'm gonna try to go. But I'll definitely be there in the next couple of weeks. He's one heck of a chef. Well, question to you: have you been there? Your questions with Telegram, my issues with Discord. I hear you. I get it. Well, they're different issues, but it's all the same stuff. I mean, having spent my life with computers, not as my main job. It was always my second job. It was what I did when I was done working. At one time I had as many as 4,000 clients for websites. I had my own servers back when that's the only way to do it. Constantly trying to keep everything cool because everything used to get, really hot. I've been that route, and it was great extra money. That was back when I would only sleep 2 or 3 hours a night. My favorite client was this outfit out of Australia that sold didgeridoos. Those are those long wooden things that like that. And this was back early 90s, and he wanted sound clips so that people could hear and judge the different quality. And he was selling, back then, 94, I think is when I got that account. He was selling some of these $20,000, $25,000 for this long, hollowed out hunk of wood. And he wanted these. So we got it. I got it in there. It took me a couple of weeks to come up. Every time that's actually why I stopped designing websites. I would get all the parameters. We'd have our conversation. I would put this time into it. And during the time I'm working on it, they're thinking about it and they come up with a redesign. And you keep redesigning and redesigning. Each time you give them what they wanted, but it's very frustrating. And eventually it caused me to just quit doing it. But they were good to work with. The only problem was I had to be up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to work with them. But I didn't sleep much, back then anyway. But I mean, can you imagine in the 1990s money, seeing a price tag on a hunk of wood for $25,000? I thought at first he was kidding me, but then he sent me all the. I had to build a shopping cart because all these things are out of the box now, but they weren't then. I mean, the internet had just started. And so I had to build the shopping cart. So I've got these photos, and he sends me these sound clips, and anyway, off topic. I get reminiscing and just start rambling on. My real business has been business consulting, specializing primarily in the automobile business and primarily in the collision business, in creating efficient manufacturing entities from mom and pop, take forever and do bad jobs. And I actually became, in that world, I became world famous. I had consulting clients from South Africa, also from Australia, from Canada, because I went to this convention, got some award, had thousands of people listen to the presentation, and from that I started getting a lot of consulting clients. So that was my love, efficiency. Deming is one of my life's heroes, and I loved doing that. I loved taking a business that's on the verge of going out of business and turning it into the most profitable, center in their city. I love that. And so that was my number one. But I've told you before, I was a workaholic. I started working at 10 years old. And so, I mean, I love work. And so when I would not be working at that, I needed something else. And since I had gotten a degree that I didn't need, but I had the VA, I'd already got a degree while I was in the Marine Corps, aviation management, because I was in aviation, so it was easy. I got half of the degree credited to me just because of my military. But then when I got out, I had all of this free VA, plus at the time, they actually paid you some money every month for costs. So I didn't want it to go to waste, so I went back to State University in New York for computer engineering, where I had to take calculus, which it was the only classes I ever struggled with in college or high school. I didn't do them in high school. I avoided math. Ironically, turned out I loved mathematics, and it became one of my passions, history and mathematics. My home library, you would have looked at and thought I was some kind of disturbed individual having books on mathematics, which are very much philosophy. Anyway, off topic. What do we got? All right. That one chat stopped working again, and it ended at Mike Carroll, hate Telegram. I only use WhatsApp. And I was rambling on because I didn't know that more comments had been made. So we got what kind of car you have. It's a sore topic, a sore subject that I put on my personal channel, telling all about the car and the embarrassment. And so when I have a car, I rent a car. And I rent a car for the clients. So part of the money that they're giving me is going for the car and the gas and like that. The restaurant is called Mr. Onces. Throw in vibe on the useless side. So with the election of a socialist president, Petro, that's running have an effect on you staying in Colombia, would you move? I have no intention of moving. My life is embedded here. At this point, I couldn't afford to move anyway, but I wouldn't move. And I would just hope that the people that would have voted for him to get him in would soon see the error of that and soon see that his promises are bogus and that it would correct itself. And so that would be my next situation. Now, when he ran for president last time, I did not move here until that election was over, because had he won, I would not have come here. But now I'm so embedded here. This is my home. This is my life. I have zero thought about leaving, going across that border ever again. It may happen, but I have no desire. I mean, I love being here. I wake up every morning so happy that I'm here. I'm not kidding. That's not hype. It's not some kind of YouTube thing. I'm not trying to convince you to be here because, frankly, I don't care if you come here or not. It doesn't affect my life. And when you're here, I'm not very social, so it's not like, you know, I'm building some circle of friends. I mean, I like Mike. I talk to Mike once in a while, for example. He's a hell of a guy. And if I were more social, I'd probably want to see him, you know, 3-4 times a week. But I'm not like that. So I have no motivation to make up these things. But the absolute truth that I'm telling you is I wake up every day so happy that I'm here in this place. I love it. So I don't want to leave. And that election, although I would feel despondent, it would be a wait and see. I have faith in the people here, although I have to tell you, it's been hurt a little bit. I'm a little concerned because what's happening in Canada, I honestly thought that would have happened here about 6 months ago. That particularly when they started with the mandate, I really thought that there would be kind of a grassroots uprising, and there hasn't been. And I'm really disappointed about that. On the other hand, I kind of get why, because the people that want to are just living their life and it's not affecting them anyway. I'm that way. It's not really affecting me. So, you know, what's to get upset about? It's not like they have any kind of enforcement or, you know, what's happening in other places. So, Sin Hombre, Canada went, yeah, I mean, Canada has changed so rapidly. You got a government that's ignoring their own constitution. And so I don't know. So I still have faith in people here. I'm just surprised that I haven't seen more, but I kind of understand why. But I don't know. I don't have any more to say about that, I guess. I hope it doesn't happen. He came far from being elected last time, so, you know, fingers crossed. I didn't picture you as an ex-computer nerd. Yeah, well, I've lived many lives. You know, it's like for a while when I was in the Marine Corps, and then when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was big in aviation. I became a private pilot. I've had so many lives. Okay, I'm going to say this publicly. For 2 years, I worked for the mafia. It's like, I've had an interesting life, and like I say, that I took the computer engineering. I chose it because I'd always avoided math, and I decided to tackle it head on because I didn't know what else to take. I said, let me see if I can just conquer this. And it almost got me. First semester of calculus, I actually had to redo. Only thing I'd ever failed in my life in college or in school. And I had to do it over again. And it was in the middle of the second semester when it all clicked. And then it became so much easier. But I had a blockage and I struggled. But I love science. I love physics. Problem is, you get to a certain level, you have to have calculus. And so that was the reason I did that. But as I'm going along, and I chose the computer aspect of engineering because they were just out. I just bought a few years before a TRS-80 computer. Didn't know what to do with it because there was no software back then. You know, it's like, okay, I got a computer. And I started dabbling with BASIC, and I started creating these stupid little programs. And I was, you know, one day I had this little stick man who ran his arms and legs across the screen, and I thought, oh my God, you know, it's like, it was this big moment for me. And so they combined, and, you know, I got that education. Then when I had it, I saw I'm good with business, and I saw that if I were to develop things like marketing platforms on the internet, like some other people were, it wasn't like I created the idea, But if I were to develop that, there's so many people available. So I went from that, and then I started installing computer networks for local businesses, particularly some lawyer offices, things like that. And eventually, I just couldn't put up with the headaches with the creating the websites, and so then I just went to helping people with networking, and then eventually I just didn't have time for it anymore, and I just stopped doing it. But yeah, I mean, you never know. But keep that in mind when you meet somebody. You see what's on the surface, but people are complicated, and you don't know the struggles or burdens that they're carrying. When you meet them, you don't know what kind of background. People are good, particularly in the age of social media, to make snap judgments on people. And I think it's a mistake and I make that mistake sometimes too, because there's so much depth to most people if you get to know them. I saw something fascinating the other day. It was just a short podcast clip, and it was a son of Clint Eastwood. And it was fascinating because he's 91 years old, and he was talking about how he tries to mine him for information because there's so much depth in that history. Anyway, I'm way off track. All right, so they cleared Ambassador Bridge this morning. Well, that's unfortunate. Canada, the Freedom Convoy forces a question. How do things open up if the hospital vacancy has been the #1 tool of fear and suppression? Well, here, hospital, we haven't had any issues. We really haven't had much COVID issues. Hospitals have been so empty that Kali was sending people here to use the hospital beds in Armenia because, we really haven't had much of an issue. But then we don't have reporting, somebody died in a motorcycle accident, but he had COVID, therefore it's COVID. So we don't have that here in Armenia. Hospitals in Canada are overwhelmed, canceled surgeries, emergency Yeah, but the reason that's happening is because they're requiring this vaccine mandate. You have a lot of healthcare workers that don't want it, and so they're no longer there to work. And so they've created this situation. It's ultimately anybody with a brain would look at this and say, what's the better situation for the world, for the public? I saw something the other day, and I forget where it was, but they had a doctor who had COVID that had to go in and work because there was such a shortage and people were dying from car accidents and whatever. So he goes into work with COVID. Of course, he was fully vaccinated. Where did that come from? I don't remember, but I see a lot of things on YouTube. And the reason I like YouTube for information is because I can bypass the propagandists, no matter if they're from the right or left or whatever, and you can see clips of things of the actual people. And I like that because you got a pretty good chance of getting real information if it's like somebody who's there and is showing you. I'm an aviation guy too, aircraft mechanic. I'm also a private pilot, Air Force 135, crew chief. So you're not sociable, but I demand you have a beer with me when I move down there. No, I will. It's not like I will meet you. It's just, it's not very likely that I will continue to do that. I'm in my own world, and I just kind of do my own thing. Anyway, I escaped, but due to finances, I will always have a vested interest in Canada regardless. Of course. I mean, my favorite place on this planet is, well, it's kind of a toss-up, but it's probably the USA. I love the USA. It's absolutely amazing. It's heartbreaking to see the things that are going on, but it's always going to be there. It's always going to be part of me. Japan comes close. I lived there for 3 years and absolutely loved it. The society in Japan fit like a glove. And You didn't finish reading my comment. Okay, what did I miss? It's criminal what they're doing? Yeah, I saw that. If that's what you mean. That was more commentary than the heart of it, and I don't know, just certain things. But it comes up on the screen, even though it's only for about 45 seconds. So, you know, people are seeing it. Okay. We're over time. I certainly, hospitals overwhelmed before COVID. Oh, well, I don't, you would know, I don't know. I know in Canada, because I was born north of Montreal, but my birth certificate is New York, and I was only a couple weeks old, came across the border, and my initial years were on the St. Lawrence River, right on, literally on the border of Canada and New York. And so, big connection in my life. And living in Rochester, going to Buffalo, that's like one of the main crossing areas. And I saw people all the time come from Canada to use the medical in New York. So, you know, I've known that there's an issue, but it didn't really apply to me, so I never really dug into it. It's strange. So many bloggers have seemed to have disappeared from here in Colombia. Still on the go. Well, it's expensive and it takes a lot of work. And so, you know, you have to really want to do it. And most people, they're actually, we call them vloggers, video logs, blogger. So, but nitpicking. Most people are looking at it as, I want this to be my job. I want this to be my future job. I want it to be my income. And so when you see all the clickbait and the thumbnails and all the professional style and, you know, the glossy, which I like, I enjoy it, you know, talent I don't have or don't take time to do. But that all takes time and money. And what they discover is that YouTube is no longer a place you can make any money. Even before, I had the situation where they just kind of cut me off and I make nothing from them and they do everything they can to mess with me. Even before that, the money that I was getting from them dropped. It went from 100% of a certain amount to 25% of that. So it already had, you know, had hurt me. Now they run the same ads, but they keep 100% of the money. And my channel has kind of been capped off. It's stifled. So you have YouTubers that are discovering these things and they're looking at it and going, it's not worth it. By the time I put the time and the money and then whatever money comes in, and generally viewers like you that will support that channel, for the most part, they say it's just not worth it. And so their dream of this being their full-time income kind of goes up in smoke. So that's the primary reason. Okay. Thanks for the episode. Good stuff. Have a great day. Yep, you're right. It's time to go. Peter Pan, cheers. Thank you. Extra rambling today. I guess I should apologize for that. If you're going to watch Super Bowl, enjoy it. And I will see you next Sunday, if not before. Ciao.